What does Oslo have that any other capital city might wish for? How about a government quarter with murals by none other than Pablo Picasso? Anyone would think that a city with such a treasure, Picasso's art on the facade of a government building in the centre of town for all to see and enjoy, anyone would think the city would be proud of that, would make it into one of their tourist attractions, and would send its school kids there to learn from it. Especially when there are only 3 buildings in the world that integrate Picasso's art in such a way: the College of Architecture in Barcelona, the Château de Castile in France, and the Y-block in Oslo. The Y-block is now in danger of demolition. Large numbers of people have become involved in trying to get that political decision overturned, so that this unique building featuring Picasso's art can be saved for future generations. 3 public demonstrations have been organised to highlight the case for saving the building. This film, recorded at our public demonstration in October 2018, will show you some of the history behind this world-class piece of architecture. Jackie Kennedy managed to save Grand Central Station in New York in 1975. We hope that more people will get involved with this campaign and spread the word so that the Y-block can survive. In 1958, the Norwegian artist Carl Nesjar contacted Picasso to ask him if he'd like to collaborate on an art project for the new government buildings in Oslo. Nesjar had been experimenting with sandblasting motifs onto natural concrete, a material developed by the architect Erling Viksjø with the engineer Justan. Nesjar was keen to get Picasso involved. Picasso was very enthusiastic, and the 2 artists embarked upon a 17-year-long collaboration that resulted in a multitude of large-scale innovative sculptures around the world, as well as the mural in Oslo. Renowned architect Erling Viksjø designed the buildings of the new government quarter in Oslo in the post-war years, when the country was full of hope for the future. The people and their politicians had rolled up their sleeves, ready to build a new Norway. Viksjø's design was inspired by the tall UN headquarters in New York and by UNESCO's Y-shaped head office in Paris, establishing a clear link between the new Norwegian government quarter and the UN, the international organization tasked with ensuring the peaceful coexistence of the world's people. These were the days before oil conquered Norway, and our society slowly but surely shifted in a more materialist direction. At that time in history, a sense of community held sway. Royals, politicians, and the general public all shared the commitment to building a society based on values of democracy, women's rights, human rights, freedom of thought, tolerance and respect, social and economic equality, and solidarity. Picasso was fascinated by Norwegian egalitarianism. His image on the Y-block shows fishermen at work, thereby linking the people with power. Norway built its government quarter based on strong egalitarian ideals, using accessible modernist architecture, and in 2011 it was about to be listed for conservation. Now, because of a political decision, the government quarter is being transformed. A high-density, high-rise development is planned, and the Y-block is going to be demolished. The intention is to transform the area into a densely built high-rise development, demolishing the Y-block to make way for an ostentatious new glass building where art doesn't get a mention. A huge construction based on a small idea. Norway is still strongly influenced by a social democratic way of thinking, but with new liberalism, ever-increasing wealth, and a widening gap between rich and poor, we're beginning to undermine what we're most proud of: The government quarter we have today reminds us of who we are and what Norway stood for, and it is a powerful symbol of what our society still should stand for: democracy and equal rights. It also reminds us of our place in the international community and of the importance of the United Nations and its work for peace. On the 22nd of July, 2011, Norway was hit by an act of terrorism. A bomb was detonated in the government quarter, killing 8 people. The terrorist then left Oslo and headed for the Labour Party youth summer camp at Utøya, where he murdered 69 young people. He wanted to damage the sitting government and prevent the development of a multicultural society. The bombing in Oslo became the catalyst for politicians wanting to demolish the Y-block, despite its obvious conservation value. We see this decision as fulfilling the terrorists' dream of destroying Norway's government buildings. The politicians argue that the Y-block should be demolished because of security concerns. But the Y-block was intact and stood firm after the blast. How much more vulnerable would a tall glass building be, like the one they planned to replace the Y-block with? Tearing down a building of World Heritage quality on the basis of such an argument speaks to historical ignorance. People say a building must be 50 years old before we can appreciate its value. The Y-block will soon be passing 50. But a number of politicians do not appreciate concrete architecture of that period, and they're using this opportunity to have it pulled down. They want a new, modern building with high glass facades like those we see in so many cities today. Is Oslo now to have a government quarter that showcases values quite different from those of social democracy? An important part of the world's cultural heritage is about to be destroyed as the result of a political decision. The Y-block is not simply a Norwegian affair. It belongs to the whole world, not only because of the artwork of Picasso and Nesja, but also because of the values it represents. The values which so stirred Picasso, and of which we should be constantly reminded. It is the Norwegian government's intention to tear down the Y-block. The citizens of Oslo have demonstrated repeatedly. Public debate continues to rage in newspapers and on social media. The ICOMOS Europe group has appealed to the Norwegian government to reconsider, urging it to respect the Y-block's universal values and seek alternative solutions. The campaign group wants to start a worldwide protest against the demolition of Oslo's Y-block. Jackie Kennedy said, "If we don't care about our past, we can't have very much hope for our future. We've all heard that it's too late, or that it has to happen, or that it's inevitable. But I don't think that's true, because I think if there is a great effort, even if it is at the 11th hour, then you can succeed, and I know that that is what we will do."
Sankt Havard passer på hele byen. Nå evig og bestandig skal dette stedet stå, og det skal vokse og bli større for alle nye små.